Have you ever felt like something was missing deep in the core of your soul? Have you ever wondered if your life was meant for something bigger? Consumed with stress and the worries of the world that seem so overwhelming, questioning if God can even hear your prayers or if He's abandoned you in the stagnant pond of your life. What if I told you that you could follow the river and you could find a way to a world where your dreams still exist? So if you're tired of being trapped by your own fears, doubts, and self-destructive behaviors, you can join Will and Marie as they journey into the unknown, searching for new answers, new blessings, and new purpose in the deep waters. Hi, guys. We're back with a special guest today for another show for the Deep Waters podcast. And I don't even know what number we're on. But it's totally exciting for what we're doing today. Um, but once again, who are we?
I am Marie Purnell. I am the founder of Walking in Your Woman, Finding the Me in You. You can find me on the Facebook page, Walking in Your Woman, and I have created a new space called the Landing Space
Yes, she has.
at 5 a.m. It was 5:30. Then the Lord decided to do 5 a.m. and I said, "Are you kidding?" But it's only 30 minutes, so whatever for God, right? So I am Marie Purnell, founder of Walking in Your Woman, and this is Will.
This is Will. I'm Will. And I am the CEO of Core Counseling Strategies. Um, I know anybody who's been watching old shows, I was going through a whole change with the name of my company, and we are settling on the original name, Core Counseling Strategies. And it is a practice for, well, pretty much everybody. And I love doing this show with my friends. And like I said, we have a very special guest today who I am very proud to introduce. Actually, I'm going to let Marie introduce him.
Guys, I don't know why I'm doing this because he just his presence is introduction enough, right? It is the one and only Mr. Tory Brown. He is the founder of the founder of the Uncommon Truth. Did I say that correctly? And we are so grateful and we are extremely blessed to have him in our presence, us be in his presence. I call him the professor. And you will see why once he starts talking. He's extremely wise. Tory Brown, if I may say, is the husband of our dear sweet friend Tyvette Brown, who we lost a few months ago. And that was hard for me to even say, and I'm sure he understands that. But today we are talking on a very different topic. We kind of touched on it last week on our last podcast, and we are going to touch on it again. And it's about men being silent in relationships and in any actually common space. So,
Mhm.
Tori, did you want to say something? So I'm going to pass the mic to Tori just to let you guys know I don't have that.
It's an honor, it's a privilege to be here. Thank you, Will, for inviting me here, Marie. You guys, I love your production. I love the way you guys flow. So yeah, I would be the founder of the Uncommon Truth podcast. I like the way
I messed it up last time.
I was listening to the last show. Will was like the uncomfortable truth. I'm like uncommon truth, but sometimes the uncommon truth is uncomfortable. I would
I think
say
it's
many
always uncomfortable.
always.
Yeah.
So that's really what my purpose was. I wanted to bring out those things that people tend to overlook, but underneath the surface, things tend to manifest that you didn't realize were there. So it would make more sense for us to kind of face those things.
Mm.
And that was really my goal. That was my purpose. And so yeah, that's really the steam that I had to build that production on. But yeah, again, I'm Tory Brown. Um, not really that much to say about that, but Uncommon Truth
I have a
Podcast.
question.
Wait
Wait.
a minute. We have a lot to say about that.
How did you decide to do that?
It was a lot of things. The first thing was I think that I meant for the podcast to be centered around biblical topics,
Mhm.
Right.
and you'll see that as you see the first few episodes.
Correct.
But it began to expand into things that connect to people on a more community type level, things that will cause us to kind of retrospect to how we should build, how we should kind of evolve as a people,
Mhm.
things that connect us, our community, people that look like us,
Mhm.
things that affect us. So that's really where I wanted to go with it. And so you'll see it start, you know, changing in direction as you listen. So yeah, a lot of these things that we face in life
Mhm.
caused me to want to just get some information out. So
Yeah.
that's where
And
where
it's
it was.
important because really, I think that a lot of times we forget how important as a community that we are resources to the next man or woman.
Right.
And so many times we forget that and we start um, just building on the inside of our home. You know what I mean? And we don't think twice about, oh, the next neighbor might need that
Mm.
thing. You know, they
Mhm.
might need this particular truth. They might need this resource. I know how to do such and such. Such and such may know how to do such and such. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And that we forget that important part in community. We do that a
Yes.
lot of times.
Yes.
A lot of times. And unfortunately, in our Black race, that is because we are so busy trying to um, just try to get by for real,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Just try to get by, and not only because we it's the old thing. Look, I got mine. I'm gonna take care of mine. You're gonna take care of yours, and we never try to put things together. And when we start doing that, we start putting it together. It becomes a major thing. It becomes a big thing, and it creates a series of wealth that it's just knowledgeable. And with us three here today, I feel that tonight. I feel that we have this
We do.
this
Sorry, I'm
this
smiling
okay,
big.
yeah, because this is a series of wealth that is sitting at this table tonight, and I understand that now, even though I fought, even being here amongst these two great men. You guys don't know how much I look up to Will and Tori. They are two of the greatest men in my life, besides my husband, of course, but I have always looked up to them. They're so wise. They've raised amazing families. And I just think, I'm very blessed to be in this presence tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this on to you.
Well, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Hey, it's really the truth. And
You
it's
know,
really how
okay. It's funny when you say you look up to me because you argue with me all
I
the
do.
time.
Because you're my brother, so I gotta argue with you. I would have argued with Tori,
Woo.
the time that we were sharing. But he always gets me straight now, Marie.
But you
Or
know,
but Marie.
that's the power of community.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in our culture as African Americans, we have a community that sometimes isn't a community.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and
So
and
separated.
we're together but separated,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
that discrepancy, that contradiction, is
Mhm.
why we haven't been able to really come together, and which is why it's so powerful
Yeah, absolutely.
when my people are here.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and and my tribe is not just African Americans. I have a big tribe.
Yeah, I think we all do.
You
We have
know,
a diverse amount of people in
but
our tribe.
it's so amazing when we come together and actually start to create that iron sharpens iron, and when that happens, sparks fly, and actually a fire is
That's
produced. I know
good.
that was good.
I like that.
Yeah, I can visualize that.
Yeah, right. Me too, Tori.
But so often we're afraid of the sparks.
Mhm.
We're afraid of being challenged, And I don't know any other way to create fire that produces things, not
Something's got to be hit.
right. It not only it purifies, but like if you look at a forest fire, that's devastating, but it brings new growth,
Right.
you
Correct.
know, and so much of what we're talking about today is
Ooh.
is about bringing new growth,
Yeah.
you know. So last show we talked about how it has become so easy for men to be silent. And we threw down some hints that we wanted somebody on the show
It was a
to
very specific hint.
right to kind of share his thoughts. And when I called Tori, I mean, I almost wish we could have taped our conversation
Oh,
on the
man.
phone.
Gosh, what did
I
you
mean,
do?
we were rolling, but he was sharing some things that really hit him when he watched the show, and I'm hoping we can go over that again. Okay.
Well, Will has this way. Every time I sit down with Will, he has this way of bringing out the pure, I don't know, it's like an information treasure that you didn't realize you had in you. He sets you at ease.
Yeah.
We would sit down, have some coffee in Starbucks, and I'm sitting here becoming this I don't know, it's almost like I'm becoming a motivational speaker talking to him
Right.
when I came to him with a whole bunch of problems that I had, and I wanted to just have somebody to dump my problems on, and he's helping me understand things. So I love that. Yes, I love that, and that has actually been instrumental in helping me with my presentation and what I wanted to do. But anyway, I thought a lot about the conversation I had with Will and the video that you guys did last time, and I retrospected on my own journey that I had with my marriage with my wife. I realized that I was that guy that stayed silent and kind of backed away from situations that would come up, and I didn't know that it was an issue. Walking into the marriage, freshly out of the honeymoon and everything, into the real life, I was a person looking back now that I wish I could kind of take him to a corner and say, look, let's but the thing that I think about now is I realize that my wife gave me so much grace and allowed me time to grow. She didn't become this other person. She stayed Tyvette. She was not this person that backed away and became isolated and distanced herself from me. She stayed there. I mean, things had to get done. She stepped up. I was more like, I bring home the bacon, I pay the bills, you take care of the phone calls, you take care of the touchy stuff.
Right, right.
And I realize now that a lot of information that I have at my disposal, um, okay, I'll put it to you this way. Being a single father right now, widower, if you want to call it that, um, I have a lot more of a strength in handling things than I thought that I could ever have. And if I had applied those things that I have now in terms of information and how to tackle those issues back when I was married, I can see things rolling a lot more smoothly. But again, Tyvette allowed me to grow through those difficult times in my life where I didn't feel like I needed to change. Anyway,
Didn't even know you were supposed to change.
right, right, right.
Can I
Go ahead, go ahead.
just a little bit? Because I was the opposite of Tyvette. Sorry, my husband's not here to explain, but I was totally the opposite of Tyvette. And so when my husband would speak, he would go from 1 to 2050 because he had held things in so much. He didn't really get a chance to say what he felt because man, Tyvette used to always tell me, Marie, you're answering his question before you even giving him a chance to answer. So he would just shut up. He wouldn't say anything. Honey, I know you're going to see this. So I'm being graceful. I'm taking on what I'm supposed to take on. But Tori being allowed to grow through this. My husband is just now in his 60s learning even more about who he is in our family, who he is as a dedicated father, who he is as a man that is strong in
Mhm.
relationship and building, having vision for his family. And my mouth, I mean, man, I got in so much trouble with my mouth, Tori.
What?
Not nothing nobody would believe that. But so I carried the shame of it for a while because I felt like you know, and what is that word? I never can get that word right. Like made my husband smaller than what he
You diminished him or minimized him
minimize
or
him,
emasculated him?
emasculated. That's the word. I hate that word because it's got so many mixed up stuff in it. But that's one of the things that I hated about my mouth and what I did to him as a strong black man. And I see him now, and there were moments when I don't know if I really saw who he actually was. Like Tyvette saw you, like Bam sees you. I mean, Barbara sees you. It's I don't know that I saw that because I never really knew what it meant to have a real man in my life. All the men in my family were alcoholics or abusers or
Mm.
something, you know what I mean? So I didn't know how to differentiate. Oh, this is a real man. You know what I mean? This is what a real man does, works and raises his family and he tells his daughters what to do. And I'm stepping in going, oh no, you're not. You know what I mean? So that,
Mhm.
caused some things, but there's things now that I have to be real silent about. And I don't always like it,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it's allowing him to grow in such a way that I'm seeing him and the children are seeing him differently as well.
When you were saying that about not recognizing, manhood, it's a double-edged sword because not only do women today not know what a man looks like, but we don't know as men, so we're all going on theories, unproven theories on how to be a man and what a man's supposed to look like. But the problem is we should know that we are men. And let's just go with that question. What does being a man mean to you?
That's a great question. So one of the things I was thinking about was we're actually built for it. Physical, the difference between a man and a woman, obvious physical traits. Um, we are there to endure. We have an
I like
ability.
that. Endure.
Yeah, we have the actual God given ability to endure things that women don't naturally have. And right, and not only endure, but the other side of it is we have a natural inclination to go out and pursue the drive. Again, it's not going to cast a generality on everybody,
Right.
but more times than not, you'll see that men have that natural inclination to be ambitious, to go out because they have an undergirding of
That hunter.
yeah, it's a physiological thing.
It's how you were created.
How we were created.
You were created for just that to take dominion and multiply.
Absolutely. So look, and this how I see a man now is totally different than how I saw a man back in the day. But I see a man now as it's totally appropriate for me to adopt this go-getter mentality. But anyone else want to share?
Well,
Because
I mean, like you're saying, to conquer, and I'm not saying that there aren't women who aren't ambitious. But I think one of the main differences is that when a man isn't in his role to protect and support, it literally starts to damage his psyche.
Absolutely.
But when a woman isn't in that role, she has the other role to be a nurturer, a caregiver, the empath, that she can slide into,
That
and,
she's
and
created to be.
right now
In the
women
beginning.
are phenomenal how they, unfortunately have had to take the reins, because men have dropped the ball so many times. Um, but they it's like they can go back to their first role,
Mhm.
which is just to love.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
if when men lose their natural drive to overcome, to provide, and I'm speaking just as a counselor, I've seen so many men, including myself, start to lose ourselves in our own identity, in who we are, and often that will manifest into this what I like to call an impotent anger. You know,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
That's a lot. That's a big.
eh,
Ooh. That's big word. Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
you know, and I was thinking about this before y'all came. The reason I call it an impotent anger is because the anger is often felt more on the inside than it's demonstrated on the outside, because we feel so helpless and unable to change things, mostly because we lack the knowledge or experience or confidence.
That
um
word right there. That's it. Confidence.
yeah, yeah, and then when we get out into the world, it comes out in an outward appearance of anger, you know, loudness, abuse, screaming, yelling, punching walls, because we don't understand our true role.
Well, you're not walking in what you're created for. And that's what happens with us as women as well. When we're not walking in what we're created for, to be that driving force to the man, to give him something to go and conquer for, we as women, when we take that role away from a man, my God, we become that. Literally, we become that particular person, that woman that feels like I can do all things, and it's not through Christ, but I can do all things. Watch me roar. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why I started Walking in Your Woman, was because that was one of the things that the Lord showed me. These women are out here. I don't need you to open my door. I don't need you I can do this myself. I can do. Really? That's what you want? See, I need somebody to take care of this cuteness. I don't have time. I don't have time. I'm I'm in the position of being taken care of. Thank you so very much. But because I had did that, what I had did to my husband, like, like, kind of made him feel like I can take care of myself. One time, you know what he said to me? You want to be the man of the house, don't you? I'm sorry, what?
Mm, he called you out.
I said, what? What you mean? And then, so, all my chest is out. I'm thinking, why in the world would you say something like that? And it was because of the way that I was carrying my character. I felt, if you're not gonna do it, I'll do it. If you're not gonna handle it, I'll handle it. That was with the kids. That was with any situation. And Tori, it's well, it's just not. It's not good. I remember looking at this movie called How does she how I don't know how she does it. And it's with is it Jennifer Aniston? I think it's Jennifer Aniston. I might be wrong. But she's in this corporate world, right? She's doing everything big and she's doing amazing things, but she's losing her family and her husband. So her husband's like, goodness, I mean, like, what do I need to do? Her daughter ends up in the hospital. They can't reach her because she's in this major corporation um meeting. But at the very end of the movie, she says, because being a woman, no, because trying to be a man is a waste of a woman. I said, no, wait a what? What? So just think about the fact that I don't want your role. I don't want your role. I don't want to do nothing. I ain't going out. I ain't conquering. I'm not climbing no trees. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I don't need no bows and arrows to kill nothing. Okay. I want to be that nurturer. I want that. I want when my husband comes home, he finds his wife waiting on him. That's what I want. And then he knows that when he went out there, he conquered the day and came home to me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a whole different role. It's a different position. We're not out here trying to be anything less, whether we are single women or women with a spouse. We are not telling you, these gentlemen are not telling you to be anything less. They're telling you to be who you need to be so they can be who they need to be.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You passed that right.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that I thought of. Right now, I'm kind of drawing a blank because I was just soaking it all up.
I know, me too. That's why I pass it here.
Gotcha. So I did think of this. So we all know what that word impotent means,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm thinking about reverse engineering that word.
Mm.
We know potent means power,
Yeah.
and impotent would be the opposite of that. So if you take impotent anger, you take a person who is consumed on the inside with anger, but no way to allow that power to manifest constructively. So it continues to destruct things inside. And not only does it manifest to the person's individual makeup, but also people around them. He doesn't know how to express things. Then the family starts falling apart. Then there's this back and forth. One thing that I realized that I have experienced with my own life journey with Tyvette and me, when we would have those moments, those times when, say, things had to get done, and I would kind of shrink away, back in my comfortable place and allow Tyvette, I'll let you take care of that. And many times we would have situations, um, she would actually present the idea that, just like you were saying, Marie, it's got to get done. It's got to get done. I'll just go ahead and do it. And I found myself kind of, it's like a stunted kind of growth. I found myself paralyzed when it was my decision to back off to begin with. But then, as she was the one taking care of things, I began to feel kind of
Less than.
and
Did you feel any anger at all?
it was anger,
Yeah.
that caused me to feel like I can't do anything. Like, it's hard to explain, but now it's me against the world. Now everybody's against me. Now I don't have any way to relate. Now I don't have any. It's like, even if I were to go out and try to release some stress, go punch a bag or something, it's not really helping because it's like I'm hurting myself.
Right.
I don't know. It's different. It's difficult because a man can't seem to process things when it's not done properly. If he wants his comfortability, it comes at a price.
Yeah.
The price is himself. He doesn't
Yes.
realize that.
Mm.
I had to,
Goodness.
I had to learn that.
Wow.
What do you think,
Wow.
Will?
Woo.
See. Now I got to say something smart. You know, when you were talking about that and the anger on the inside and the powerlessness, I kept thinking about the how we have lost the discernment between assertive and anger, and we've lost the science of how to use both of them properly. You know, because just in counseling, I've seen many people have this allergic reaction to the emotion of anger, which that is still God created. You know, we've just twisted it all up because we want to hold it all up on the inside, let it get spoiled, fetid, and infected, and then we want to, just explode all over everybody.
What do you mean by that? What you said? What did you just say?
The difference between assertive and anger,
Yeah.
and the proper use of both,
Yes.
and
Yes.
how people have developed almost an allergic reaction
That
to
right
the
there.
emotion of anger.
An allergic reaction.
Mhm.
What?
It's funny how I will run into individuals who will be, how do I put it, ashamed if they have a feeling of anger. Yeah,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah, no,
as if it's something wrong, as if totally disregarding why you're angry,
Right.
as if there aren't any appropriate times where you should be angry. If someone is abusing my child at school, you better believe I'm angry.
And I'm showing
You
up.
know, and I'm showing up. You're right. You're right.
And I'm showing
You
up.
know, if one of my grandchildren does something crazy, I'm going to be angry. Now, the whole scripture is, now who knows the scripture?
Do we have to
Be angry and sin not. Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Ask the Browns. They know all the scriptures.
you know, be angry and sin not, So there are appropriate ways to utilize anger and demonstrate it.
Mhm.
Acknowledging that I'm angry
Oh yeah.
is not a sin,
No, it's not. No,
you know.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation.
I say, oh yeah.
Because I just had this was in
Hmm.
my live this
See,
morning, and
see,
it
see.
happens almost every time that we do this. Now.
But often we have misrepresented. uh, We're using the tool wrong, and I'm talking men and women.
And
You
yeah.
know, women. Where you said, we've emasculated. Men, um, we've gone silent. We our anger just goes total internal, and I've seen it manifest in addictions, drugs, alcohol, pornography, being a workaholic, all kinds of things that'll manifest out of that impotent anger. And then we all know the real extreme measures. It turns into abuse and domestic violence. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And it's funny that you said that because that's what I talked about a little bit today. I talked about the toxicity of silence
Mm, mm,
because my husband used to go about and not speak to me for days,
mm,
sometimes weeks. Do you know what that does to a person, an individual? You are now unimportant. You're irrelevant. I don't even have to talk to you, but we in the same room.
mm, mhm,
I'm your wife. I'm your husband. You're my husband, and we're not talking. It's toxic. It destroys the very covenant of marriage.
mhm,
The vow is in sickness and in health and richer or poor. You're supposed to be taking care of each other
mhm.
no matter what. Even in an argumentative state, by the time you guys come back together and get it right, even if you agree to disagree, there should still be some kind of communication.
That reminds me of you guys remember when DJ was doing the lesson on frequencies?
Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
and it's so powerful now that I'm thinking about it,
Oh yeah.
because he had the example of the scientist with the plants, and he
Yes,
said
indeed.
one plant he spoke positives to,
Right.
the next plant he spoke negatives to,
Yeah.
and the final plant he said nothing to.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
and do you
Huge.
guys remember which plant had the most devastation?
The one that said nothing too.
The one that had nothing.
Nothing.
It was like all totally black, or I don't.
Uh,
And when you understand that,
uh,
and then you apply biblical principles of life and death are in the tongue,
the tongue. Yes, indeed.
you know,
Your tongue has power.
right? And then if you look at how, and I mean, I'm throwing out some big words, how demonic it is when men are silent. We going hard, because it's worse than me saying something foul to you. You know,
Men have to speak.
we need
Like
to
you
speak.
said, you guys are created for that. You guys are I don't want to keep getting this mic, but you guys are created for that. That because you were created first. You were created first. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm understanding that, oh my God, even more now, of course. But you were created first. So it says in the Bible, wives, submit yourselves to your husbands. That does not say that the husbands don't submit themselves to their wives, because it does say that, right? It goes further down and it says that. Exactly. So you are learning how to build each other up in your most holy faith, in what you believe in each other. You're supposed to be encouraging each other. I believe in your dreams. You believe in my dreams. Then, if you don't do that and everything goes silent,
Listen,
I'm
listen.
passing. I'm passing. I'm passing. I'm passing.
So check this out, right? This reminds me of the conversation I had with Will. Maybe was it last week on the phone or a couple weeks ago? Anyway, I started talking about this new revelation God gave me about anger, and this is exactly what we're talking about here. The verse that I mentioned, "Be angry and sin not." You can look at it a different way. Another way of looking at it is, well, many people usually take it to mean, so if you get angry, well, don't allow that anger to push you to do something wrong, and don't let the sun go down before you get it right, kind of thing. So That's kind of how I learned it.
Right.
But another way of looking at it is, so be angry and sin not. Think about passive aggression, like you were talking about. If, say, a spouse would go for a long time without speaking, it's a passive aggressive. It's the wrong use of anger. So think about David and his conquest. If he didn't have the anger, the righteous anger of the Lord to push him, then he wouldn't be remembered as the warrior that we see him as. If he didn't have the righteous anger that moved him to defend what God had given in his care, if he allowed that anger to be inverted into passive aggression, where he just turned it on to his family and shut himself off, he wouldn't be the person that we count as the one who the Messiah is coming through.
Come on now.
You know? So be angry and sin not. Don't allow that anger to turn into some passive aggression.
Yeah.
You got to get that anger out and in a righteous way. And don't, again, it's something that somehow or another men have adopted this inverted sense of identity where we don't even understand the proper use of the natural anger that we are supposed to have and use. It's like we would it's like an ingrown toenail, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
You know, anyway, what do you think?
Well, I love how you said inverted, you know, because a lot of what I see in counseling, the most devastating effect is not the outward demonstrations of dysfunction. It's what we're doing internally to ourselves, you know, and and I love being able to talk about the whole man issue because it's minimized so much today.
So much today. It
So
really is.
much, and that's why I wanted you here from the woman's standpoint, because we don't get to acknowledge it at all, you know, and it's often turned inward, and it's been happening for generations. And I'm not just talking about for Black men, I'm talking about for
Men,
all
period.
men.
Yeah, that's the
All
truth.
men, you know, when
That's
we
the
talked
truth.
about the TV shows, I cannot name a TV show today that has a positive male role model.
Wow.
I can't.
Can you think of one that did though?
Way
Let's see if
back
you
in the
think
day,
of. Let's see.
Huxtables.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah,
one. But
yeah.
we so far back, we were talking about James and Good Times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that from from the last show, sure.
So we definitely thought about that. And you know, I told Will, I said I do not even qualify. I'm like, I don't qualify to be in the midst of these two men, but I qualify to let women know what it means to have a man that has vision for your family, that has vision for your sons, and that want to create an inheritance of wealth. And wealth is not always about money. I found that out. The Lord did, he showed me this, and he said, you know, we always think about wealth as being money, but the riches are what the money is. Wealth is knowledge. It is understanding. It is the inheritance that you leave for your children and your children's children. It is the relationships that you leave back behind. That is wealth. That is power.
Yes.
That is a stability and a foundation that your children can go back and say, oh, my mom and dad did it this way. The money ain't gonna do nothing but mess them up sometimes. You know what I mean? They're not gonna have the wisdom if they don't have the wealth of wisdom that they need.
Yeah.
Just wanted to share that.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Yeah. Now I have one more question. What do you guys think has contributed to the degradation of a man's ability to not only know who he is, but to be assertive in being a man? What do you think has contributed to that in our society today? I mean, who wants to go first? Oh, Tori.
I was gonna say ladies first, but
That's okay. That's okay.
So this is really interesting. I've done some thinking about this. I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but I think it goes back to us being raised as children in a school system. Now, grain of salt, guys. Just go with me.
Okay, okay.
This is what this platform is for. Go
All right.
ahead.
So I think that we find more times than not that this society tends to produce people that are dependent on the society. And I can speak for myself. Like I said earlier, when Tyvette and I had just gotten married, and I were to take a snapshot of the man in that union, which is me, I see now a person that had no need to be the person that I am right now. I didn't think I needed to be that. It's like, and I can't just blame society, but at the same time, I think there's a significant effect that my upbringing had, where I feel as though the school system and the stimuli that I kind of received that was reinforced in me created a person that more or less didn't need to have any pursuing of things. I didn't need to have a vision. I actually did some research. You guys know Helen Keller, right?
Yeah.
So she has this quote. She has many quotes, but one quote that I'm getting my children to memorize was, and I'll share it with you. What she says is, um, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision.
Ooh.
And so I realized when I got married, I was a person who had no need for vision. All I had was, I have this job and it's going to supply my needs. I'm dependent. I'm a dependent person. I don't, so you contrast that with having, say, a society that perhaps can create people where the understanding is these people are going to be the ones who the society depends on.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, that's good.
these people are ones who depend on the society. They're creating a bunch of employees. They're not creating business owners. I mean, more times than not, you want, I mean, again, this is my personal perspective. I'm looking for a job after I graduate. I'm not looking to create something. I don't have this vision that I'm going to pursue through thin and through thick. No matter what, I'm going to get there. And I saw that thing in my wife, where she actually poured herself out to the vision that God gave her, at the very end, and there was nothing stopping her. And it was the vision that drove her. And she had this saying that God gave her: "Stay the course." Um, anyway, I just wanted to say that the power of a vision is something that I feel is stripped from man today. For whatever reason, men don't seem to have that natural inclination to pursue a vision. It's like they're satisfied with being dependent on a system. And I think it starts there. That's just me.
No, I think that's good. I think that's real good because I can see exactly what you're saying. I don't know why you passed it to me because it was a man's thing, but I can see exactly what you're saying because that makes a lot of sense to me. Because all you're and I thought about this something similar the other day, and I'm like, all these kids getting all this education, and when they come out, they have nothing.
Mhm.
They have no vision. They have no drive. They just want to get a job, and then when they lose that job, they have nothing. So what is it that we are creating? What you just said to me just really it topped off what I was already thinking on. So this is like it's an incredible moment that we're having right here, a revelation, understanding that when God created man, go out and take dominion.
Mhm.
Yes.
If you're taking dominion, you're not going out and buying having a job,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Yeah, it's not a 9 to 5.
It's not a 9 to 5. You are conquering everything. You're
Mhm.
conquering the bears that are trying to take your children. You're conquering what you should have did. No disregard, no disrespect. Was conquer that darn snake that came up and beguiled me.
Beguiled Eve. Right.
No, I am Eve.
Right,
Okay,
right,
I'm
right.
just saying. Just in that position. Forgive me for being loud. Let me break it down. Um, but I just think about the importance of it, what it is to be a man in this society. They strip you guys of absolutely everything. They want you to work until you're 70. How are you going to enjoy life? I had a conversation with one of my friends. She said her husband is working. He's going to be 77. He's still working. Wait a minute, hold the phone. He has money in his account to pay off everything and can be retired.
Mhm.
He's choosing to work until his dying day. What what you said is just clear to me. It's
Mhm.
clear and it
Mhm.
makes total sense because how can we enjoy our life living as husband and wife, father and mother, people of the book, people of the kingdom? How can we enjoy life when we are scratching to the very end of our nails trying to create something that we will never win?
No, no, no. I was just thinking about everything you guys were saying about, vision and I'm just linking that to being assertive and there's so many contributing factors, that go with the lack of confidence and how we're not trained to be entrepreneurs or inventors or creators, unless you're in the artistic field, you know, which it's an interesting how the reservoir has been like dried up, and we don't even recognize it. We don't even recognize it. And the other thing that I've seen is when men do start to step out and start to pursue, um, they can be mocked, by men and women, by family and friends. What are you doing? Why are you doing extra? Why are you going to the gym that early? Why why are you writing a book? You know, right? Why are you doing that tonight?
Right.
Da 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 da. I mean, and as if we're not supposed to grind and hustle,
And become.
and become and continue to grow and become,
Mhm.
better and better. That doesn't happen by sitting on the couch watching Netflix.
Oh,
Right.
sorry.
I mean, it doesn't happen in an isolated bubble or an impotent bubble.
Yes, sir.
It has to happen
Yeah.
through community that inspires each other
Mhm.
and challenges each other. So we all grow. I was listening to a podcast, and the gentleman said that the rising tide brings up all the boats.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
but a lot of the boats aren't even in the water.
Wow.
And it's our job to get our boats to the water.
Wow.
Wow.
Not that I'm throwing in the whole deep waters podcast.
Deep waters, I love it.
Look.
Love it.
But yeah. I mean, I appreciate you being here tonight,
God,
Tori.
please don't know.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah,
honor and
yeah.
it's the greatest thing. I mean, we do good things, but you being here is pretty amazing.
Mhm,
And as we were talking, I thought about, yeah, hold that mic. I thought about how the uncommon truth has come here tonight to bring us some core counseling strategies to allow me to walk in all my woman so that we can go into the future and be the kingdom people that we were said to be. Yeah, God is good like that.
mhm, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That was good. That was good. That was good.
And so we can talk about the real man
Mhm.
that is no longer silent.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I like that. I like that.
He's good like that.
So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. Check out Tori's Uncommon Truth. His podcast. When do you when do you usually do your show?
Well, I had kind of put it on the shelf, honestly, over the past year. Um, there are episodes that I had done back that are still available. I do plan on getting new episodes out towards the fall. I had actually planned on getting things rolling earlier this year, maybe around spring, but I found that I wasn't quite ready. you know. So I allowed myself some time dealing with some unresolved issues and so on. But now I do plan on getting started, getting new episodes out by the fall, and I'll be in some communication with you guys through the normal channels. So right. But I'm always here to look. I really love this. I feel totally at home with you
Yep,
guys.
exactly.
It's beautiful.
Good,
So
good,
yeah.
good, good.
Well, next time I'm gonna have more of the lapel mics
Okay.
because I only have two for usually just me and Marie, so
Yeah.
that's why we're passing the mic back and forth. But in the future, I will have more sophisticated equipment so we can all just kind of sit back because I know Marie doesn't like the microphone.
It's okay. I can take it.
But it's good. It's good. But
This
I
is really
think
good.
we're going to have Tori pray us out.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
No pressure though.
No pressure. No
None.
pressure.
None whatsoever.
All right.
Thank you.
Father, I thank you for allowing us to come together once again. I thank you for this awesome production that you've given to Will and to Marie. I thank you for this gift, this awesome gift that you're giving to the listeners. I pray, God, that you allow these words to supernaturally be transmitted and to be birthed in the hearts of people to produce fruit. Allow this word, God, to reach the people it needs to reach and accomplish your will through this production. I thank you, Father. Continually bless the families represented here, Will and Marie, and my family. Keep us, God, and protect us, cover our children, cover the children, Lord. And I thank you for all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for being on, guys.
Bye.